Hello YouTube and welcome to Azerbaijan. We're here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here. 5 drivers ready to do battle on the streets of the city in Baku. Well, no, the city of Baku in Azerbaijan. Is Marco talking? Alright. Alright. So about a minute and a half into the session already, and the first driver does make their way out onto the track. See who that is. I believe that's Invader. That is. That's a different livery, huh? I like to see people change it up and driving the number 13 there, Invader on an out lap. This is the 297th EWRL race. And this is the 53rd F1 Grand Prix. Here this. I believe this would be the third full season we're attempting. This will be our 4th attempt at a season for an F1 league. We've done 2 full seasons and a half season. So this is our 53rd Grand Prix. So here comes Invader to the start finish line to begin his time lap. 14 and a half remaining here in qualifying. Ben, Markle, and Foursquare on out laps as well. Dan still in the pits. Let's ride on board with Invader. He's on the first timed lap of the session. The Azerbaijan city circuit here in Baku, filled with lots of 90-degree corners, proving to be many challenges for these drivers. Not because they're 90 degrees, but because the walls are so close to one another. Little room for errors. Dan is now on an out lap, so all 5 drivers going here in the top half of the qualifying session. Invader now working his way out of the final corner that he will break for this circuit. Now up the gears we go, full song as he works his way through turns 19 and 20, and down the front straightaway we go. And a 1:39.835 goes top of the charts for Invader. I believe Ben will be the next driver to set a time. I caught these corners 19 and 20. This is turn 18 and this is turn 19 as we are riding on board with Ben. He now approaches turn 20. And now to the start finish line we go. Ben looking for top of the charts to the start finish line. A 141.084. I don't believe that was his best lap. Do expect more out of Ben, but we will see as the session wears on. We're 12 minutes in, or we have 12 minutes to go. I'm sorry. Foursquare goes second quickest, a 140.559. And now we're on board with Markle. He's sporting a new livery this week. Number 41, red and green livery, resemblant of a watermelon. And this week can hear Halloween for most cultures. In the Hispanic culture, Dia de los Muertos. Markle will go a 139.981. He'll go second on the chart, about a 10th.5 off of Invader's lap time. And now we ride on board with Dan. Full song, down the front straightaway we go. Dan looking for money here at the start finish line. He will go 5th of 5, a 141.418. So the Park Brothers 4th and 5th, tree hugging the bottom of the scoring pylon right now. So the drivers head their way back into the pit lane after some hardy qualifying attempts. We take a look on the season so far as we approach the 1/6 mark of the EWRL F1 season. There's a caution in Sector 3. I believe that's just Dan off the pace on his cooldown lap. Yep. Let's take a look at the season. Markle, Ben, top of the table. 2 wins apiece. Markle an 18-point lead over Ben. I believe that's because Ben has missed a race. Markle has yet to miss a race. Tonight was at threat for Markle to start, but he did make it. Well, he has not started the race yet, but he did make it to qualifying. Here comes Dan to the pit lane. 31 points back of the top spot. We'll have third place Foursquare right now. Sat third on the table, third in the qualifying session right now. 31 points back. That's a full race and a full points day and 5 points more. And we have 35 points back. We have 2-time and only EWRL F1 champion Dan, 4th on the points table, 35 back, and 5th on the qualifying charts. Malenko has missed the last few races. Malenko is 67 points back of Markle. He is very capable of winning this championship if he would attend races. And 6th place Claudius also tied with Malenko. This is the first race I believe Claudius is missing, or the second, but Claudius has put up hard-fought effort in his efforts to make those points. In 7th place in points is Invader Zim. Now he has 13 points, and that means he is 74 points off the top spot in the points table, but that is not an accurate representation of how he's ran this season. I believe the last 2 races he has been running in a very, at least, nice points paying position, and has DNF'd out of the last 2 or 3 events. As we have Ben on a hot lap now. Let's ride on board. Foursquare on an out lap. And Marco and Dan also finding themselves to the racetrack. There's a caution in Sector 1. I believe that is Dan. And again, it is Dan. Caution in Sector 1. 6.5 minutes remaining here in qualifying at Azerbaijan. I don't believe these drivers will get another time to come to the pit lane and fit fresh tires and make it back around to start a timed lap. Maybe Ben, he will be, oh, into the wall goes Ben. Actually, Ben, if he finishes this timed lap this time and is content with it, he would have enough time to come back to the pit lane, cool the car off, put some fresh tires on, and go once more. But it would be a stretch. He's coming off of turn 19, heading to turn 20. 6 minutes remaining here in qualifying. To the start finish line comes Ben. The back wing is open, DRS activated. To the start finish line comes Ben. Ben goes top of the charts, a 1:38.984, 9/10 of a second faster than second place now Invader. And we have Foursquare on a timed lap. Right now, Foursquare tracking in the green. And the caution in Sector 3. That's Marco heading back to the pit lane. He is not content with his warm-up lap. He'll go in and try it once more. This is caution in Sector 1. Now Invader's on an out lap. Now Foursquare still tracking in the green. We'll see if he's tracking in the green at the start finish line, flying through 18 and 19 on his way to turn 20 at a caution in Sector 2. That is Dan, who stopped and is facing the wrong way on the racetrack. And now getting it back spun around. Foursquare goes second quickest, a 1:39.809. Dan was on a fast lap and he was sat the other way around and almost hits the wall coming into the castle section. There's 4 minutes for me. That's great. So Invader's on an out lap. He's on his way to begin his attempt at a timed lap. I believe there's 4.5 minutes remaining in the session. You'd think that a company like Codemasters would have fixed this issue by now. So Invader absolutely flying around here. He was the provisional pole sitter through the first round of lap times. Let's see if he can improve. He is tracking in the green through Sector 1. Now Marco's on an out lap. Absolutely flying around this circuit is Invader. Still tracking in the green, but barely for Invader at the Sector 2 line. Let's see if he has a stellar Sector 3. Approaching 2.5 minutes remaining. Dan now on an out lap. Invader improves to second, a 1:39.695 for Invader. Now Markle. This is somebody we expect to start up front. Right now sat 4th. I don't believe he's going to stay there. We'll see, can he get to Ben's lap time? Will be another story. Let's see if it goes, or it doesn't. 2 minutes remaining in this session. Oh, it's gonna be close if Mark would even get a second lap. That's assuming he needs one. Ben and Dan on out laps. Foursquare appears to be locking in the time he's set. Right now. I'm sorry, what? Oh, okay. There's a caution in Sector 2. Markle right now tracking in the green. I believe he's tracking for about 3rd right now. Can he improve? About 30 seconds remaining? Question mark? Alright. So Markle to the start finish line. Where is he gonna end up? Markle goes second quickest, a 1:59.469. Now Dan tracking into green. Can he get out of last place? Foursquare locks in his time. Invader's done. He is going to, it appears, lock in his 1:59.695. Dan right now tracking into green. Yeah, Markle is not on another fast lap. Dan is, however, on the front stretch and tracking into green by a lot. To the start finish line he goes. He does not improve on his position, but does go a 1:40.699. It looks like Ben has aborted his lap time. Everybody has what it looks like aborted their lap times. Ben is pushing now, but I believe he's just heading back to the pit lane. Alright, so Ben will start on the pole for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Markle will start second, Invader third, Foursquare fourth, Dan in fifth. So that is a wrap here at the Baku City Circuit for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix qualification session. Ben, top of the table here as we head into what I believe will be a 29 lapper, or 27 lapper here at Azerbaijan. So here we go. I heard rain was a concern. Looks dry to start. So we wait for these drivers to approach the grid. And they don't wreck on their reconnaissance laps. It is a 26 lapper here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We'll go through our starting lineup. Second here we go. Alright, so on the pole we have the number 24 of Ben, and starting second the number 41 of Markle. Row 2 will have a number 13 of Invader and a number 79 of Foursquare, and in row 3 we'll have a number 12 of Dan. Alright, so guys have about half a lap on their formation laps. Ben, do you think this is where it begins if you're going to try to make up the race that you were not able to score points at and try to chase down Marco for a title? You think this is the race it begins at? Right now already you've missed the race, but you are already within a full race amount of points between yourself and Marco at the top of the table. Looking pretty stout. Y'all are tied in wins though, so it is going to be a hard fight throughout the season. How do you feel? Yep, and that about says it. He is telling the truth. Marco has definitely improved in terms of results and performance between the last time we had an F1 season and now. Look like Lamar Jackson between last season and this year. Doesn't even look like the same person. Here we go, the drivers, they're gridding up. It's about to be 26 laps of close quarters racing. So here we are in Baku. Everybody's gridding up. Final touches getting perfectly aligned in their grid boxes. It's time to bring the action. We've got 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away they go. Ben now trying to clear Marco into turn 1, but Marco a great start up the inside. Marco with the preferred line into turn 2, but Ben able to get the run off the corner. Back out in front of Marco now. Ben will clear Marco on the run to turn 3. Invader almost hitting the gearbox of Marco there, had to kind of work his way under braking to the left side of Marco there for turn 3. So here we go into the tightest section on the circuit through turn 7, on our way to the castle section for turn number 8. Ben leads him through the first time at race pace. Going wide through turn 12 was Invader, able to keep it under control. And Marco right now just trying to keep himself within striking distance of Ben, because in about a lap and a third's time he will have the opportunity to use DRS and try to fight for that top position. Right now Dan 5.5 seconds off the leader's pace already through the first lap, very uncharacteristically of Dan. Ben sets the fastest lap, a 1:46.980 on the soft compound. Foursquare now looking for the third position on Invader. Look like to have a good run out of turn 1. And now Marco losing a little bit of touch to Ben. Still within a second of him, but starting to really test that distance, and now he's over a second behind Ben now, which is what Ben wants. He wants to open up that gap and try to nurse that gap, but a huge mistake there through turn 6 will allow Marco to close the gap now to 0.4 of a second. That is not what Ben needed. If Marco can be at the same pace as Ben through the second half of this circuit, he will have his opportunity next time through turn 2. As that'll be the first time they will have DRS. We ride on board with Marco trying to push the issue to get Ben to make another mistake. The very early stages here of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it's already mind games on lap 2. Marco just over half a second behind Ben, but all he needs is to be within a second by the time they hit DRS detection. Marco goes one faster, a 1:44.189 on the soft compound. So here we go. Marco definitely within a second there at DRS detection. Dan heads to the pit lane. We now see if Marco can have a lunge at Ben. He has opened up the back wing on his red and green number 41. Not able to make an overtake attempt, but did close the gap slightly. And that will just aid in piling on the pressure on Ben. Again, two of the series best going toe-to-toe here. Ben with the most wins in the EWRL F1 Racing Series, as he's one ahead of his brother after his last win a couple weeks ago in Mexico. And Marco tied with Ben in wins this season with 2 apiece. Marco again top of the table by 18 points, and he is hounding Ben 0.3 of a second all the way through the castle section. And now as they head into sector 3, Marco's still right there. A little bit of a mistake from Marco, but he's still well within striking distance. Now Marco's going to be all over that gearbox of the number 24 car here. As he flies through 18 and 19. He's going to have to slipstream. He will have DRS now. Look for a huge lunge into turn 1. The back wing is open. He's slipstreaming Ben all the way down. 0.3 of a second. 0.2 of a second. He's not going to dive bomb him. He is smarter than that, but he is right there. Less than 0.2 of a second now, the gap between the top two as we work lap number 4 here at Baku. Marco's right there in the slipstream. Closing the gap even more, but not able to make an attempt at overtaking that time round, but he is piling on the pressure. Ben knows he's there. Two very, good drivers at what they do, displaying their talents here on a well-walled circuit in Azerbaijan. Marco had a huge checkup there through turn 12. Now Ben opens the gap up to 0.8 of a second. Marco's just got to focus on not letting Ben gain even more, as Ben makes a little bit of a mistake through turn 15, but Marco almost did the exact same thing. It's now 0.9 of a second as they head on to the front straightaway. And now Marco's in danger of losing DRS detection on Ben. He's now gaining that now under 0.9 of a second. But now Marco's just got to be smart to not lose any more time to Ben. Lap 5 of 26 here at Baku. So we mentioned Dan pitted a couple laps ago. He has pitted for another set of soft tires. My inference is going to be that he damaged his wing early in the race and he had to pit to repair it, but did not want to alter his strategy too much and has pitted and fitted a set of soft tires. So he has 3 lap fresher softs than everybody else. Or I'm sorry, 2 lap pressure softs. We'll see how much of an impact that will play later in the race. He is 34 seconds off the pace right now. Foursquare started to lose a little bit of touch from Invader. He's about 1.5 seconds back. That's not any need to raise alarm, but it is not within DRS detection of one another. As we head back to the lead battle, they're separated by 0.7 of a second as they round turn number 12. On their way down to turn 15, it's a downhill braking zone here. And turn 16 as well, and I believe Marco's damaged just the right front of his wing. No, actually it looks intact, but there was some debris flying. That was Ben who damaged his wing. And he does not have his right front winglet, so it's now Marco smelling the blood in the water. Ben already peeking down low as if he's gonna pit, and he will pit immediately. Doesn't want to give up any advantage. Imagine that, damaging your front wing with your competitor right on your tail and still able to pit to fix that right away. Invader follows suit. Now leads me to believe either Invader damaged his wing on the same lap or this is a scheduled stop. Ben and Invader both fit sets of mediums here on lap 6 of 26 at Azerbaijan. It'll be interesting to see where Dan will come out compared to the rest of the grid, and Dan will pit. There's a caution in sector 1. That's Ben. Ben made a mistake coming off the pit lane. I believe he got caught out on the altered braking zone as he come off the pit access lane. You have to brake at a earlier point to make the second corner. And I believe that did catch Ben out. And he's damaged his front wing again, and what a race Ben was having, and it's already in danger. Invader right now on the gearbox of Ben, who has to take up the whole track as if he's turning a semi-truck. Invader goes right on by. I believe Ben let him by there into turn 7. Dan has fitted a set of hards, so I believe he's trying to go 20 laps on hards. And Marco, huge contact on the front straightaway while he makes a heavy damage with his right front wing. In the race lead by 4.7 seconds, and here he comes to the pit lane. And Foursquare is going to take full advantage of this and be able to lead here. He did lead lap 6 right there, but Foursquare now takes over the race lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and he'll have a huge gap over everyone else. Marco replacing that front wing now, and he has fitted a set of hards. Marco does not want to make another stop this race. What a mistake, and Ben is retired! On the front straightaway, his front wing has not helped him in any way. He was missing half of his front wing, and he could not turn through those high speed, high downforce corners, and they took the best of Ben right there. That is crazy to see somebody who he qualified on pole, and he had a very strong showing in the opening stages of this race, and he's DNF'd on the front straightaway. So now this race is wide open as Marco's made a mistake and he's damaged his front wing. We look to the race leader, Foursquare's in the catbird seat, to maybe even take this Grand Prix if Foursquare plays his cards right. Marco is secured in the second position right now as he's starting to open up a little distance on Invader. Actually, that is not the case. Invader is still keeping it within a second and a half of each other. There's a caution in Sector 3. That's Foursquare! Something amiss on Foursquare. Does he have a puncture? And he had a huge shot at the I believe he might have punctured the right rear tire. Yeah, that is what happened. He's punctured the right rear. Wow. So many drivers making mistakes here at Azerbaijan, and I did say this circuit is well walled. But now Marco, who's on a set of hards, Invader's on a set of mediums, and he's closing the gap on Marco. Invader may look to take over the race lead from an actual overtake on the circuit. He is closing the gap on Marco now. What a crazy turn of events here in the first 8 laps. So Ben received the wing damage he got from entering the pit lane, and it no, Ben DNF'd entering the pit lane. Oh, it is a tough pit lane to get to, but wow, that is a hard one to swallow. Marco very strategically breaking the slipstream down the front straightaway, but to no avail. Invader still continues to gain 1.2 seconds the gap. That time by the start finish line. We work lap 9 of 26. That means we're at about the 1/3 point of this race. And so many people have made mistakes this race. I have not seen Invader make a mistake, but Marco has pitted for hards. So either he's going to the end on his set of tires, or he's going to go as long as he can and fit a set of soft tires to the end. Well, Invader most likely will fit either another set of mediums. He makes a mistake going into turn 7. Another set of mediums or a set of softs to the end on his next pit stop. And Invader now going wide through 19. Though it's not a mistake that's going to damage his race, that is a mistake nonetheless. If he still has his left front winglet intact, he should be in okay shape. Actually, I'm looking at that car and I don't believe he does have his left front winglet. Something interesting, however, is Invader Foursquare is closing the gap on the drivers in front. So Markle right now out in front, 2.7 seconds his lead over Invader. Markle has 16 seconds over Foursquare. Markle now opening up the gap to 3 seconds over Invader. However, the gap between himself and Foursquare is holding steady at 16 seconds. I believe that is almost a direct consequence of losing the left front winglet there off of turn 19 for Invader. Able to close it down to 2.7 seconds, and now Foursquare under 15 seconds, or under 16 seconds to 15.5 seconds. And even though he is 15.5 seconds behind, it is important that if Markle does need to make another pit stop, the gap is about 23 seconds that it would take for Markle to go in and out of pit lane fully serviced. Actually, I guess more here would be more 20 to 21 seconds. That is saying that Invader and Foursquare don't make another pit stop, and by their strategy it does look like they will. But anything can happen. Markle knows he made a mistake, and with that mistake he's either trying to cut out a pit stop or put himself in the best position with the time he's pitted. And a great aerial shot there of Markle navigating the back end of this circuit. 3.5 seconds to gap now between himself and Invader. 16 seconds out in front of Foursquare. 38.5 seconds back, you'll find Dan. Now Invader's goal is to try to maintain the 3-second gap, and maybe if Markle does have to make another pit stop, Invader will be able to gain that time depending on what tires both of them fit. Invader is doing a good job, even though it fluctuates between 2.7 and 3 seconds. It does not grow larger than 3 seconds. It did get to 2.6 seconds that time around, but then he loses it on the straightaway. I believe it's the way they take the corners. Not exactly sure, but my inference is that Invader drives it deeper to the corners than Markle does, which helps him greatly on entry, but Markle gets a better exit. I'm not exactly sure. That's just the inference, the way the gap is fluctuating. And speaking of going deep into the corners, Invader misses his braking point there for turn 15, going wide and hitting the wall. Did not get any wing damage off of that, I don't believe. And now four square. 14.5 seconds behind Marco. It was 16 a lap ago. Next time by will be the halfway mark of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here at the Baku City Circuit. And now Invader bringing the gap to 2.3 seconds on the straightaway. And the clouds, they're getting darker. These drivers did say, they mentioned at the beginning of qualifying that rain towards the end of the race could be a factor. Will it be a factor before this race is over? The sun is still out for the moment. Which leads me to my next point. Now that I say that, the drivers who fitted for hards, maybe they can't go to the end, but are hoping that the rain will become sufficient. It will wet the track sufficiently enough for them to fit a set of intermediates. This is all, of course, if the rain comes at all. Banking that the drivers who went on the mediums for their first pit stop will not be able to make it to the point where the track is sufficiently wet enough to fit a set of rain tires. Again, all this being if it does rain, but heard the mention of rain towards the beginning of qualifying, and now the overcast is starting to show across the circuit. Marco now 2 seconds the gap he has over Invader. 4 square, 12.5 seconds back behind Marco. So now, just past halfway here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix at the Baku City Circuit, we await the possibility of weather interfering with the ending of this race. .7 seconds the gap now. Invader's been a very methodical driver to try to close the gap on Markle. Invader is at the disadvantage that he does have the tire that wears out quicker, and it has a lap older tire than Markle does. However, Markle is on the slower of the two compounds. But at this point on the tire lifespan, that is starting to not really play into a factor. This is all that Invader's been pretty methodical, because it doesn't appear that he's been really giving that DRS a workout, or the ERS a workout. And I believe those are raindrops through the castle section. And now you can see when these cars slow down as Marco has a huge moment out of turn 15 that it is raining here at the Baku City circuit. We're coming to 11 laps remaining in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And now it's, can these drivers keep their cars under control until the track gets wet sufficiently enough that they can and they have to pit for intermediates. Can the medium tires that Invader has fitted right now last? Invader's head to the pit lane now. The track, I don't believe, is wet enough. DRS is still enabled, but he's fitting a set of intermediates now. I don't believe he could have gone any longer. Here comes Foursquare. They're fitting intermediates. I believe this is a call straight from the engineers that are leading these teams that are calling for intermediates because Foursquare had 2 lap fresher tires than Invader, and he came in for intermediates, and DRS is disabled. That means the track is wet enough sufficiently. Dan, a huge moment through 19, trying to keep his car under control. Now Marco's going to have the time of his life trying to keep this car under control. Let's ride on board. Marco's got a whole half a lap where the race stewards deemed that this track is too wet for them to allow DRS, and this may have just opened up this race. Marco really having to feather the throttle and work his way around. The real challenge is going to be this front straightaway. And here comes Marco to the pit lane. Invader. Oh, and a huge moment. Invader damages the front wing. He was in prime position to take over the lead and possibly the victory here for the Grand Prix, and he was pushing too hard. Wow. Here comes Foursquare. Maybe Foursquare does take over the lead of this Grand Prix. Now Foursquare is smart. He could come away with a race victory here, as Marco had to go an extra lap on dry tires on a wet track, and wow, this track got soaked. Invader's got to be kicking himself right now, as he had a potential race victory in the bag. If he had just wasn't pushing so hard through turn 19, he is absolutely kicking himself in that cockpit.
I also fixed my wing, Emerson.
And Dan has a huge moment through 19. He gets caught out. He does not lose the entire front wing that Invader did, but I don't believe he was going fast enough to take off the front wing. Invader was on it. He was committed and booking it through turn 19, and whammo went the front wing. So now Foursquare has a 5-second advantage. Can he put his rain racing to the test against Marco? He has a 5-second advantage, and he has 10 laps to try to fend off Marco. And now Marco through turn 19 hits the wall. He didn't get the memo of the other drivers damaging their cars through there. So now that opens up the gap to 5.5 seconds now Foursquare has over Markle. Now Foursquare face 6.6 second advantage. Foursquare now just has to really keep his car inside the white lines, and he should be doing just fine for these final 8 laps. Markle has 6.3 seconds to try to catch on Foursquare. But if Markle is thinking big picture, he just does not want to DNF. Because provided he doesn't DNF, even if Foursquare wins this, he's still going to have a huge advantage at the top of the points table. So we'll see. The gap now 5.6 seconds, 5.9 seconds as it updates over that scoring loop. 6 seconds. The gap now. And now Markle is on it. I believe he's giving that ERS button a workout. He's closed it down to 5.2 seconds that straightaway. .6 seconds to gap now. Let's ride on board of Foursquare to see how he takes the treacherous, tight section of this circuit in the rain. You see the sun kind of poking out in between the clouds right there. But it is still soaking wet. It's raining still. This time by will be 7 laps to go. Markle's closed it down to 4.7 seconds. 4.5 seconds across that scoring loop. .4 seconds to gap that time by. Markle is on it. He is determined to try to get to Foursquare. So Foursquare trying to maintain the 4.5 second gap he has over Markle in these final 6.5 laps. All Foursquare really has to do is kind of keep his pace up without making a mistake. Sounds easy, right? On a wet racetrack where the walls are literally inches away from you. Easier said than done. But these drivers are doing a fantastic job. I know they've all pretty much have made mistakes today. But they have, besides Ben, have DNF'd. Have not DNF'd. Wow, I'm sorry. Foursquare did go wide through 19, had to really crack the throttle. Now it's the 3.3 seconds the gap, and Marco will continue to gain as he got a better exit through turn 19. 3.4 seconds the gap now. Foursquare's got to avoid mistakes like that, or this race will fall right back into Marco's hands. This time by will be 5 laps remaining here at the Baku City Circuit. And with how long this track is, that's about 20 miles of racing. A lot of racing left. And a lot of things can go wrong in 20 plus miles. And Foursquare hit the wall there. Now he's just trying to keep his car under control now. He's got to get back onto the throttle before Marco gains a huge amount of time. Marco can now see Foursquare. Foursquare's got to stop making those mistakes. Is now within 1.5 seconds of each other. Marco smells blood in the water. 1.3 seconds the gap now. Coming around to 5 laps to go. It's wet. It's soggy. We're at the Baku City Circuit where these walls are literally surrounding you. And this is what it comes down to. There's a caution in sectors 1 and 2. That's Dan. Dan's gone straight off in 1 and 2. Does he have wing damage? And it looks like Dan keeps his wing intact as he did go shooting straight off the access lane. The gap now 1 second, less than a second up front. It's about to get good. How much does Foursquare want to win? That's exactly what's about to be questioned here. We know they can drive. Now it's can they drive on a tight and technical racetrack without making more mistakes in the rain.
My controller died.
Oh wow!
It went straight.
So you hear that battery issues for the number 12 car. They were able to get that situated and under control. Did not damage the car.
The electronics died in the car.
I'm more impressed that I didn't die.
Half a second now separates the top 2. This time by will be 4 laps remaining here at the Baku City Circuit. I believe Foursquare has lost his left front winglet at some point. Well, Marco has both of his. Advantage Marco in that regard. .3 of a second. 2/10. Marco slipstreaming Foursquare. How much can Foursquare defend? To the inside looks Marco. Foursquare able to defend on the outside. Now 4 laps remaining for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Marco has 2 wins on the season. 3 wins is what he's looking for. Foursquare looking for his first career win in EWRL.
I'm just impressed I'm still in this race.
0.3 of a second through the tight and technical portions of this racetrack. Foursquare still has the advantage. Marco all over the curbing, trying to get any advantage he can over Foursquare, right on board of Marco through the castle section. It's very tough to see if you're that second car. All that spray from the car in front of you, all the rain around you, and the wall is blocking your view on every side, and the halo, of course, the halo adds to it. You cannot see if you're in the cockpit. And then there's Foursquare into the outside wall. He had it won. If he could just hold off Marco, he had it won, and he's put it into the barrier. Now it's not over. Marco can easily make a mistake just like that, but it's not looking good for him. So Marco retakes over the race lead here with 3 laps remaining here at Azerbaijan.
My team's out of front wings. They have to be.
And Foursquare pits, repairing his front wing. He's not going to limp it out, but he's not going to lose a position by pitting either. I believe this is now just a preventative measure from DNFing. So now Marco, well out in front of any competition, with 2.5 laps remaining here on a soggy Baku city circuit. .28 seconds, the gap between Marco and second place Foursquare. You just hate to see it. The turn 15 barrier caught out a couple drivers. It caught out Invader earlier, and Foursquare had a victory in the bag. Caught out by that turn 15 barrier.
I've hit a lot of barriers.
Two laps remaining here in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for Marco. And a caution in Sector 2. I believe that one was Dan.
That was not me.
And that one was Invader.
Yes, I just intercepted there. Blame me. I've turned this into my drift.
So here comes Markle onto the front straightaway for the penultimate time. Because this time by the start finish line, he will begin his final lap here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Absolute domination, 26 seconds the gap over Foursquare, 49 seconds the gap over Invader, and 89 seconds the gap over Dan.
Well, past like 5 laps, I turns into a drift circuit. Trying to hope that Marco would catch me.
There's no way, Dan. I haven't seen you on the mini-map.
Marco, a huge moment
like
through turn
times.
6.
These tires are assed
I should have died like 4 times. Oh shit.
I've had a yellow front wing this whole thing.
Mine's red. Because I've hit the wall so many times lately. Because I'm just sliding. Oh shit. Let's just tiptoe through here so I don't die. There we go. Oh, shut up.
And Marco, do turn 15, almost spinning the car.
Hey, I've done that.
Curbs ass.
And on to the front straightaway for the final time. He's got to navigate a few high-speed corners.
The final 2 turns.
And through turn 20 for the final time, Marco will come to the start-finish line, and he will win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Dude, I went through like 4 wings. I should have picked the 5th one. I just didn't. It's gonna be like a year
Later
before I
today,
finish
we
the
got
race.
Foursquare coming. He will finish second.
Oh, hit the wall again.
He'll finish second here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Tune in on tomorrow night's Victory Lane. You'll see Invader.
Next week's video when you'll see Dan. If I can make it to the finish line. Oop.
And there goes Invader, and that's going to be the end of our coverage. We won't have enough coverage time to show Dan cross to the start-finish line.
I'm still surprised I won. I changed 3 front wings.
I'm sure everybody else has
gaining
changed
on you before it
just as much.
rained.
No, I went through my brother's front wings.
I thought I was gonna get at least close to you before it rained. It would have been
Bullshit.
pretty good. But then as soon as I came out of the pits, the computer shot me right into, like, because it takes
Into the
you.
wall, right?
Yep, took me right in the wall.
Yep.
And
That's
killed
why I had a little bit of damage too, I think. But
killed my front wing.
no, but the last 2
And there
turns
goes
were
Dan by the
fair. They completed
start-finish
wall.
line.
Yeah.
My car gets loose.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get some post-race interviews after podium celebrations. Let's see if Marco stays this week.
I mean, the plan is to go back in the computer, but what's up?
I fucking just ditched the interview last week.
I was just busy. I actually went to bed after last one. I didn't go to the computer in the mess.
I'm like, dang.
I
You
got
know
school
what's, you know
and
what's
work
impressive
tomorrow.
about this? Only one person had a warning, and he also DNF'd.
Pushing too hard. Alright, and that's gonna do it here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Marco with the Grand Prix victory over Foursquare, Invader, Dan, and Ben will DNF. Marco will come out of here with the fastest lap, a 1:44.189. And now we're joined by our third place finisher, Invader. What was the final blow for you in this race? You had your chance. What could you have done differently to preserve that chance?
I think it was going okay until coming out of the pits when I put on the inners. Computer taking over, shot me right into the wall, killed my front wing, and that pretty much took me out of the race because I had to pit on the very next lap again for another front wing. So had that not happened, probably would have came out in front of Marco and been able to at least post up some type of defense.
All right. Yeah. Did you think you had your chance to win when you were about to come to take the lead of the Grand Prix, or did you think you weren't going to be able to keep it up there?
When I came in for the inters, I thought I had it. I thought I had it when was it myself and I was gaining on you there right before the rain came out. I thought I would be able to get you if the rain wouldn't come out. I thought I would have been able to get past you, but once the rain came out, I pitted a little early trying to see if I could call it right, and I did, but had that worked out, I probably would have had a good shot at winning.
Did you make the call on when to pit, or did your engineer make the call when to pit?
I made the call.
Oh, that was a nice call, yeah.
Yeah, I was already having trouble coming out of those last two turns with the mediums, so I was like, I'm going to go ahead and put them on.
All right, well, congratulations on the third place finish and the podium finish.
First podium, woohoo!
Next week, whatever track we are hitting, which will be Singapore. Another very technical street circuit.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're joined by our second place finisher, Foursquare. You had it, you didn't, you had it, you didn't, you had it. What could you have done differently? So you don't think you could have made it to the end on those inners? Was there anything you could have done differently to maybe get the win? Yeah. Well, congratulations on the second place finish, the podium finish, and good luck to you next week at Singapore.
Oh.
And now we're joined by our race winner this week. Last week kind of skipped out on our interview. So how does it feel going back to back?
Feels good. Surprised I did this week after fixing both wings on both stops. So
it seemed like this race was really a mistake-driven race by all the drivers. I mean, your biggest competition, Ben, who started on pole, DNF'd out of the Grand Prix. I mean, this was a race filled with mistakes. It was really who made the least amount of mistakes. Would you agree with that? And how did you maybe not make the least amount of mistakes, but were able to take advantage of the other mistakes that drivers made at inopportune times?
Sure, yeah. I'm so like wet on that question, but yeah, I think I made just amount, like the same amount as everybody else that did so horrible. That first wreck that I had on the softs, I'm surprised I didn't DNF or how bad it. So we got lucky.
Luck seems just to be the fitting adjective for this race. Yeah. So you're now on your third win on the season. You're opening up your points gap to the rest of the field. How do you feel about a championship here this early into the season?
Good, but if Ben, shows up every week, he could easily dominate.
Alright, well, congratulations on your third win of the season. This now puts you 2 away from tying Malenko. Or what, not 2 away, 3 away, I believe, from tying Malenko at the top of the wins list. Wait, no, I'm sorry. 2 away from tying Rockstar. Malenko was miles ahead.
Yeah, GTA, congrats, Mel.
But you are now 1 away from getting to Reese for tied for 3rd on the F1 all-time wins list.
I forgot Reese won a lot. Holy shit.
Yeah, Reese was good. But yeah, congratulations on the 3rd win of the season. Good luck to you next week at Singapore.
Thanks.
Alright, so that's gonna do it here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It was a very incident-filled race, to say the least. So that's it. We'll see y'all next week for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Later, fellas.